Hey, what's going on? Sorry, I just woke up about an hour ago and I was playing some Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii, and it got me thinking, um, there are some Super Nintendo games out there that a lot of people haven't played. So a lot of people have played, but a lot of people haven't played. And this is my video just recommending some of the hardest, the best, and the most fun Super Nintendo games ever. This is not a top 10 list, so I'm just recommending games. And my number one is Super Metroid. It's the first game that I remember playing that has um, progression, true progression. You start off as nothing and you end up having insane superpowers. It's sort of, they drop you into a planet and you just roam around freely, and it is a great game. I'm going to give about 1 minute per game, so maybe there's a top 10 list, just in no order. But anyway, Super Metroid is a absolute must play as a Super Nintendo owner or as a Super Nintendo player. One of the other games is obviously Donkey Kong Country. Some people love this game and some people hate this game. For me personally, I think it's one of the best. I think it may be the best platformer ever made. And the thing about the game is the music, it's the gameplay, but also it's something different than Mario that maybe even surpasses Mario in terms of platforming. So number two is Donkey Kong Country. All those, also the sequels. Diddy's Conquest is great, and I forget what the third one is, but yeah, that's also number two. Number three, I would say, would be both Super Castlevania 4 and Castlevania Dracula X. Dracula X may be a step down a little bit, but most of these games you can get on the Wii Virtual Console for less than $10. And I know you can get Super Castlevania 4 and Rondo of Blood, which is the Japanese equivalent of Super Castlevania 4, on the Wii's Virtual Console. So I totally recommend for $8 buying Super Castlevania 4. It changed my life and it may change yours. It'll get you. It was the first game that really introduced. Well, Castlevania in general is the first game that introduced platforming and action at the same time. Okay, on with Super Nintendo. Street Fighter Alpha 2, Super Street Fighter 2, and Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Those are, they speak for themselves, obviously. I have a little list here, if you don't mind. Just excuse me. Let's see. Super Mario RPG, if you're into RPGs, that's also a given. You play as Mario and Bowser on the same team. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Great game, hard as hell, but there's actually combos in it, unlike this first two. And there's a couple more I want to recommend before I get to the real game that nobody appreciates but me. One of the games I want to recommend is, let's see, Zelda: A Link to the Past. That speaks to itself, but if you've only played a 3D Zelda, play A Link to the Past, because it's basically a 2D version of Ocarina of Time. It's a great, deep game. Also, Final Fantasy VI, maybe my favorite Final Fantasy, and I'm a big fanatic. And it has the best story out of all of them, the best villain, a lot of great things about it. And if you're thinking, oh, it's 2D, it won't have the big summons and the crazy effects, it has summons and they're awesome. And the music is great. Let's see. Oh, Mega Man X. Mega Man X 1 and 3 were my favorite ones. Unlike the other ones where you pick the guy and everything, this game drops you into a Terminator-like situation, and you get to charge up your beam gun instead of just shooting it. That was a huge breakthrough for Mega Man. And I also recommend the Mega Man X games for the PlayStation X4 especially. Super Punch-Out. Now that's a fun game, but it's missing Mike Tyson. Earthbound, I've heard, is great. I only played through about 4 or 5 hours of it. It's a great game. I would recommend that too, but that's a given. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time is a classic, but my point is, if you have an emulator, there's an emulator called ZSNES, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see the screen, let's see. it shows you how many downloads these games have. Now, Super Mario World has 10,631,000 downloads. That means 1 in every 30 people in this country has downloaded illegally Super Mario World, so that's worth it. Now, there's 2 games that I want to recommend that is really overshadowed. Not that they're low, not that they're underrated, but they're overshadowed. One is Kirby Superstar. Now, really, it's like 7 or 8 games in one. It's a fantastic game, especially with the gourmet races and everything. So if you have an emulator, and what I did was I rigged my Xbox controller, not only 1, but 2 Xbox controllers to it, so I can play games like Killer Instinct against my buddies. And that's another great game, Killer Instinct. But lastly, I would like to recommend a game I have the actual cartridge for. I have the cartridges to a lot of these games, I just didn't feel like bringing them out. But this game is one of the most fun co-op games of all time. It was an arcade classic, and now I'm showing it to you, and it is. Let's see if you can see it. I'm going to switch the, I can't switch the camera around. The game is, let's see if I can focus on it. Sunset Riders. It's made by Konami, of course, the greatest game maker ever, because they made that series, they made the Metal Gear series, and they made this masterpiece. Now, Sunset Riders is great because if you have a dad who's into westerns, it doesn't matter if he's so against video games or anything. My dad, who never plays video games, played Sunset Riders with me the whole way through, and it's a hard game. And this is also a game I recommend. It's called Metal Combat. Also, great game. But anyways, I just wanted to give a quick little video on Super Nintendo games I recommend. If you haven't played the Super Nintendo, I recommend you emulate it. I'll be doing another video about Game Boy Advanced games, but mainly the focus of this video was to get you to play 5 games. Super Metroid, Super Castlevania 4, Sunset Riders, which is the Western shoot-'em-up game, Kirby Superstar, and what was the other one? Sorry, guys. Oh, and Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. So, anyways, check those games out. You can get them free on the internet. You just need to get an emulator. I'm not going to say what it is because it's illegal, but it starts with a Z, and then it's the abbreviation of the name. But anyway, get the emulator, play the games. It's a lot of fun. If you have a standard Xbox controller that plugs in like this is I think a Logitech one or something like that. It glows green, oh sorry, I was facing the camera the wrong way. It glows green. And if you happen to find like a special edition one, like this Ghost Recon one has a regular D-pad, which sucks by the way, I'll do a review of that, because it's very stiff. But if you happen to get one of those controllers or just a regular cheap gamepad, you can get them at Wallbounce for fairly cheap. You should be able to play these games no problem once you get the emulator, along with all kinds of other games. So anyways, check out these Super Nintendo titles, and I will speak to you later. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.